these reality shows. Not a bad gig. I'm like, you want to be on TV? It was that perfect pickup line. Then we started doing a show. We were casting a show called Junkyard Wars. And that is when all these people were coming through and they were auditioning. I was just putting them on tape. And I started watching these people try to be themselves on camera. And I realized actors just cannot be natural and themselves on camera. And that brings us right up to about where my big break happens. I asked Marky if I can audition. She says, no, you have no experience. You have no headshots or resume or anything. I'm like, okay, great. She leaves the room. She's like, rerun the tape. Just make sure everyone's on there. I'm like, okay, great. She walks out. I shut the door, hit record on the camera, jump in front of the camera, do the audition, then rewind the tape, give it back to her. She sends it off to Discovery. They call back and we're like, we'd like to book your client, Rossi Morreale. And she's like, who? They're like, your client, Rossi? And she's like, oh, yeah, okay. Hangs up with them and was like, get in here! Marky, if you ever meet her, she doesn't talk like this. She just like, that's just how she talks. And she's just yelling at me. And what did you do? I can't believe it. Oh, my gosh. What? And I'm like, those people weren't good. It's like they weren't good. So I did the audition. She's like, you booked the job. It's just a thing in the moment. By that time, I had the copy memorized because for 2 days I'd been sitting here listening to these people say it, and it was in my brain. And I kept hearing what they said they were looking for, and the people that were auditioning, and so many people come in, it's like, what's your name? Hey, I'm Rossi, I live by the beach, and I like to surf. Okay, great. Okay, do the copy. Hey, how you doing? I'm Rossi, and welcome to the show. And I'm just like, what just happened? Like, where's the guy I was just talking to that was like this laid-back, cool guy or girl, whatever? So that's kind of where I realized that I was like, I can do this. Like, this is very easy. About 4 years ago, I booked a show called TBS Weekend Extra that I've been doing ever since. We shoot every Wednesday, and it airs every Sunday, interstitials in between a movie. These are the exact same guys that I booked that show the first year of my career, the TBS show, which was Big PlayStation Saturday. Same group, 3 years later, bring me back in, literally give me my bread and butter show.
We were just getting it
working in construction. My mom and dad
dancers, but I was late going up.
There was definitely a time in my life where I did not think that I was going to end up making it on TV, living in Hermosa Beach, having $300-400 in my bank account, and not knowing where my next paycheck was coming from. But fortunately, I've stayed strong. I've kept faith. I've had a great foundation and support group from my family, and it's made me just kind of stick with it, and things have continued to get better and bigger each year, and now I'm exactly where I want to be. Yeah, it made me, I had that problem right before I got Junkyard Wars, and when I kind of was going to pursue this TV deal, my dad was like, I'll support you a little bit, but you need to, you're a grown man, you need to take care of yourself. And I remember I literally called him, I was like, I've got no money, and he was like, I'm going to give you $2,500, and the next money I give you is going to be for a plane ticket home. And I was like, all right, and then like 3-4 weeks later, I booked Junkyard Wars, and then it was like, oh, hello. So I kind of get that bump, and I had saved some money, and I realized that though, but that money you make in like 3 months when we shot, it's great. But 8 months later, it's now not that great of money. Fortunately, I was a saver. I did save a lot of money. I was kind of more prepping my dad with like, hey, I'm kind of running out here. I just going to give you a heads up. And he was like, well, I'm here for you. He's always been very supportive, but try to find your way. And at the end of that year, so I go 6 months doing on air with Ryan Seacrest, probably made $10,000 in that 6 months, which isn't that a whole lot of money. So end up getting, not really doing, I did like the first couple months of that show, probably 4 or 5 months of that show, and then they just kind of like, we're just not going to use you more, we're mixing and matching. I was like, okay, great. That was kind of tough because I was still signed on to Junkyard Wars. They wouldn't pay me because we'd already shot the shows, but they were airing them years later. But they had me signed to this like horrible contract. So I rolled the dice and went for the thing with On Air with Ryan Seacrest, and it was kind of like, if you're going to sue me because you're not paying me and I can't not work. And they literally had me tied, my hands tied, every show. I couldn't do any type of show, any other network, anything, unless it was like acting on network, which good luck. So I went through about 6 months there where I, called my dad and I was like, hey, need a couple bucks. I had my moments where I just wasn't, I was down to $2,000 in my bank account. And it was kind of like, what am I going to do? And then all of a sudden, like August, I get sent to, I booked a show in New York, get sent out there for like 2.5 months, do 21 episodes, make it great money there. I get to live in New York for 3 months, come back home. I'm home for like 2 weeks. A guy books a show over me. It came down to me and him. They book him for this show in Atlanta on TBS. He does 1 episode. They decide they don't like him. Call me. They're like, can you come down and shoot the rest of this season? I'm like, yeah. Fly down and shoot the other 10 episodes in like 3 weeks down in Atlanta. And the next thing you know, now I've made like $80,000 that year. And I was like, huh. Well, for the first half of my career, it was show to show. Shoot a show for 2 months, not do anything for 3 months. Book another show, and it just a constant panic, just a constant panic and like lack of faith. Just like, I gotta get a show, just all the time. About 4 years ago, I booked a show, and this is where it gets very interesting to me. About 4 years ago, I booked a show called TBS Weekend Extra that I've been doing ever since. We shoot every Wednesday, and it airs every Sunday, interstitials in between a movie. These are the exact same guys that I booked that show the first year of my career, the TBS show, which was Big PlayStation Saturday. Same group, 3 years later, bring me back in, literally give me my bread and butter show. Okay, so now I've got a show where I know I'm making money. I know I can at least pay my bills. Everything else is bonus. Got it. Like, that really worked out good. So that was, it kind of just got me on that. It made me, it was a great lesson for me. It made me realize I need to save my money, because at any time in this industry, it can just break down. It's not like I can go, host at Chili's, and make some money on the weekends. I'm either hosting a show or I'm not. And so it just made me save and made me just be aware and very blessed and very, just realize how lucky I am and how blessed I have been to get these shows, and just kind of, it made my faith even stronger, and just that I have zero control over this. Well, first of all, I'm a very God-fearing, Southern Christian boy. Faith drives me in everything that I do. Even, walking on Arkansas and literally being, 160 pounds, 6 foot in the SEC. Everyone was like, you're crazy. But I just have faith in my abilities, and that there's a higher power out there that's taking care of me and guiding me down a path if I do my best and put on my best abilities. I'm just going to plan my life. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to move forward, and again, just have faith that things are just going to work out. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I've got this one show that kind of pays my bills. Everything else is kind of bonus.
Construction. My mom and dad were
discipline for them.
Going up.
So, right now I've got a new show on Discovery called Belly of the Beast that just got picked up for a full season. Looking forward to. And I have a new show coming out that's airing on ABC called Dating in the Dark. And it's my first primetime network ABC show, and it's something I'm very excited about. I think it's a great show, and if it keeps going this direction, hopefully when it's all said and done, I'll have my own talk show, and you'll never forget me. Around the time I got TBS Weekend Extra, and kind of had this show where it looked like it could be good, but at the time it was just another show. I got offered a show for ABC called ABC's The One, and it was their version of American Idol. But it was behind the scenes and living in the house and seeing how they make that transition. And it came down to me and a guy